гости и участники, прошу занять ваши места. Добрый день, дорогие друзья! Мы приветствуем вас всех гостей и участников Евразийского экономического форума. Очень приятно видеть вас сегодня на наших тематических сессиях. Для открытия Евразийского экономического форума с приветственным словом на сцену приглашается премьер-министр Республики Беларусь, председатель Евразийского межправительственного совета Александр Генрихович Турчин.
Добрый день, дорогие друзья! Искренне рад приветствовать вас на открытии Евразийского экономического форума. Безусловно, такое масштабное мероприятие международное – это уникальная площадка, где представители государственной власти, бизнеса и экспертного сообщества обмениваются мнениями, делятся опытом, находят пути решения совместных задач в различных сферах деятельности. Высокий интерес к участию в форуме подтверждает реальную востребованность таких мозговых штурмов. Уверен, что многие из вас прибыли сюда с предварительными договоренностями, идеями по активизации сотрудничества, внедрению новых форм и методов работы. Беларусь во главу угла своей внешней политики ставит экономическую дипломатию, в основе которой упрощение процедур торговли, стремление выстроить взаимовыгодную модель сотрудничества со всеми государствами. На основе указанных принципов строится интеграционное взаимодействие в рамках
This is how the integration works in the framework of EAEU. This is truly paid off recently and has become an important tool of development for many countries, including Belarus. 2015-2024 export to EAEU from Belarus grew by 2.5 times. The volume of industrial production during these years grew by 20% and is now $26 billion. Many a time has Belarus stated that some additional activities are necessary to strengthen the economic independence and to achieve technological independence. We are looking to build such capacity to strengthen our union. Belarus has a lot of things to offer to EAEU, like machine building, petrochemicals, woodwork, agriculture. Belarus is one of the leaders in production of quarry trucks, Belaz. One of Belaz is the most powerful and the largest truck in the world. And you can see one of those Belazes just outside this building. This is a well-honored brand, and this is like a synonym of quality in Belarus, and we plan to go on and to contribute towards the food security. We exported 7 billion worth of food. The share is about 40% in the entire union, I mean the Belarusian share. The Belarusian food is of high quality. We are one of the world's leaders in the IT export per capita. Apps created in Belarus are used more than 1 billion people around the world in 990 countries. We're happy to participate in the process of strengthening cybersecurity and digital security, as well as the stimulation of startups and support of digital technologies. Dear friends, President of Belarus addressed the CIS countries and said that the year 2025 is a special year, is a signature year. This is the final year of the fifth-year plan of Eurasian integration. This is how we lay the groundwork to build a platform for the future of the Eurasian economic road. This is where we can receive answers of how we should go on, and the dialogue about the Eurasian integration should help participating countries to be on the same page and move forward together. I hope that this forum will become useful for every participant. I hope it will open new horizons and start large-scale projects. So good work to you and have a fruitful day. Thank you very much. Next up is Chairman of the Eurasian Economic Commission, Bakınjar Sadantayev. Good morning, distinguished members of the Presidium, participants of the forum, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Eurasian Economic Commission, I'm very happy to welcome you, and I thank you for participating in the fourth Eurasian Economic Forum. I'm very grateful to Belarus for the very high level of organizing this event. First thing I'd like to point out is traditional Belarusian hospitality, which is the mother of candor. This has always been an important platform for open dialogue between business community and government in the Eurasian Economic Union. It's been a tradition, and so it will continue. Plenary sessions with participation of heads of states, panel sessions, roundtable, council meetings, as well as other events for business community, lots of dialogues and exchanges. This year we'll talk about the strategy of Eurasian economic integration, outcomes and prospects. We will discuss integration cooperation in the spheres of quality of internal market, combinability, mobile transformation and strategic development. Like always, there will be sessions of the Business Council and the Advisory Council of the Eurasian Commission and the Business Council. Ever since 2015, the Eurasian Economic Commission has been developing based on the business-oriented approach. There are institutional mechanisms of cooperation, the business community of participating countries. As a result, we enjoy a balance of transparent structure, and all interested parties are participating. The Eurasian Economic Forum is viewed as an important institutional tool for the governments of the participating countries. More than 2,000 people are participating from 30 countries. Therefore, there's a lot of interest on the part of these countries. You will see updated information about the possibilities we have, and we also will have a chance to look at the exchange of experience. There will be a lot of dialogues talking about the combinability and the deepening of economic cooperation. Your ideas as well as criticisms are an important tool for improvement of integration process. Exchange of best practices and expertise should contribute towards achieving our common goals. I hope you will have fruitful work, and I hope that your professional contacts will strengthen, and also you will build new ones for mutually beneficial cooperation. Thank you very much. Distinguished friends, let's thank our guests for a very powerful start of this forum, and now let's continue according to the plan. Good morning, distinguished colleagues. Just a couple more minutes, so we are all ready to start our section work. For the time being, please remember to switch off the sound in your phones.
My name is Boris Yuryevich Titov. I'm the special representative of the President of the Russian Federation. I think the sound was coming from the other hall. Okay, good morning, distinguished participants of the Eurasian Economic Forum. Welcome to our panel session, Sustainable Transport in the Eurasian Region, Mobility, Multimodality, and Digitalization. I would like to introduce our speakers today. Mr. Arizbek Arizbekovich Kozhoshev, Minister of Energy and Infrastructure of the Eurasian Economic Commission. Minister for Transport and Communication of the Republic of Belarus, Mr. Lakhnovich. Deputy Minister on the Territory Management and Infrastructure of the Republic of Armenia, Mr. Simonan. He will be joining us online. Vice Minister for Transport of the Republic of Kazakhstan, Mr. Kalekbarov. State Secretary, Deputy Minister of Transport of the Russian Federation, Mr. Zverev. Deputy Minister of Transport and Communication of Kyrgyz Republic, Mr. Rismendeyev. Minister for Investment and Foreign Economic Relations of Myanmar, Mr. Kanzo. Chairman of the Executive Committee of the Coordination Transport Commission of the CIS countries, Mr. Besonov. A representative of the Economic Social Commission on Asia and the Pacific region, Mr. Kormelitsin. Director General of the Persian Trade House, Mr. Alariza Jafari. Also, there are representatives of the ministries of different countries, transport, communications, executive committees, and associations. I'm Mr. Eurofeev, the Vice Rector of Belarusian State University, and I will be moderating this panel. I would like to give the floor to Mr. Kozhoshev, Minister for Energy and Infrastructure of the EAEC. The floor is yours. Good morning, distinguished colleagues. I'm glad to welcome you here on behalf of the EAEC. The topic of this economic forum is very topical today. Creation of a sustainable transport system is one of the very topical issues for all the countries. And Eurasia is actually in between the West, the East, the South, and the North. And that's why we really need to discuss some fundamental principles of the further development of the region. Distinguished colleagues, the Sustainable Transport Organization faces several challenges, different climate zones, time zones, different numbers of logistic hubs, railroads, and in general other issues for development. And the transport sector is still one of the main sources of carbon emissions, and it actually influences the ecosystems. Fossil fuels are not as topical anymore, both from the environmental and from an economical point of view. Sustainable transport can help us face these challenges. We need to develop a complex approach, and we need to take a look at mobility, multimodality, and digitalization. When we speak about mobility, we mean not only the speed of moving, but also the environmental aspect and the accessibility. Today, transport plays a crucial role for different people, especially for those who live in remote areas of our countries. Also, cargo transfers and transportation needs to be more effective, and that's why we need to develop different high-speed railways, and we have to protect it environmentally. The Eurasian land path is the main area where we want to introduce multimodality. There is not a single type of transport that can solve this issue. So, for example, there are trains, cargo trains, that are a symbol of modern logistics, but they also need to have effective logistics with car transportation and sea transportation. That's why the EU has created a national railway company for all our countries, and the volume of our cargo transportation has tripled since then. We have different routes, east-west route, northern, southern route, and so on. And these routes are very important for the communications in our region. Multimodality allows us to optimize the routes, to decrease the time of delivery, and to make the transport more accessible. Distinguished participants, digitalization also is very important. All the aspects of the transport system need to have a digital twin, and the intellectual management system is basically the brain of the modern transportation system. All of it helps us transport the goods and the people faster and more effective, also more safe. At the moment, our experts have calculated that this digitalization aspect will allow us to decrease the number of traffic incidents by 3 times. And it will also allow us to buy tickets very easily online just with our mobile phones and a lot of other perks. The analysis of different aspects of transportation allows us to make some grounded solutions. And at the moment, in the Eurasian Economic Union, we have also some transport control on our external border of the Union. There is a special process that allows us to share data on the results of such transport control in real time. The blockchain technology can also be used for safe documentation, and it allows the transportation to be faster and better. We have achieved a lot during this time, and we continue to implement this task. We are implementing a pilot project at the moment on transportation and electronic documentation. By 2027, we will be able to save up to 27 billion euros using this pilot project, because this project will allow the drivers, for example, to see some hazardous situation and some other things. It will also allow us to decrease the time and the cost of this work. We are moving closer to sustainable transport, and we are moving to using the transit capabilities of our union in a more effective way too. Anyway, we face different challenges every day that we need to solve quite urgently. On the 1st of January 2026, we will start working on a special document on sustainable transport, and the forum that we hold today will allow us to find some practical solutions for that. And I am confident that this forum today will allow us to find some positive factors on mobility, multimodality, and digitalization. I would like to wish you all some fruitful work, and thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much, Mr. Kozhoshev. These topics that you have voiced out, they're very important for our discussion. We will develop it by 2014. We'll continue implement within the EU and EAC. Belarus is the chairman of the Eurasian Economic Commission this year, and that's why we have extra responsibility. We would like to give the floor thus to the Minister for Transport and Communication of the Republic of Belarus, Mr. Lakhnovich. Good morning, distinguished participants of the plenary session, distinguished colleagues, dear friends. I am very happy to welcome you all here in Minsk at our Eurasian Economic Forum. Belarus is the chairman of the EAC for the third time. This year, Mr. Lukashenko was talking to his colleagues, other presidents of the republics in our union. He was talking about different important issues, in particular about transport. It was said that we need to have equal, non-discriminatory conditions and free competition, especially when it comes to airborne transportation between our countries. Belarus, as the chairman of EAC in 2025, works on civil aviation that is directed in particular on equal and non-discriminatory conditions for all the air companies of our countries. Of course, we face also some challenges that influence negatively the common space for transportation. Belarus is one of the initiators for implementing an agreement on transportation. We hope that this forum will allow us to discuss more closely different aspects of this agreement and in general of this area. The development of the transport, the car transport, is still one of the main aspects for the country's economic growth. It is also quite important to continue developing some special agreements on the decrease of different agreements with other countries, with the Russian Federation and the Kyrgyz Republic, for example. The question on cargo transportation with the third countries was initiated by the Republic of Belarus, and I urge you to work faster and quicker on this issue. At the moment, we lack some important points in order to overcome this challenge. I think that the liberalization and harmonization of car transportation will be one of the steps that will allow us to develop dynamically in this field, and we will be able also to enter the Asian and Middle East regions. It is also quite important to remember the Eurasian transport corridors. Without them, it is impossible to transport cargoes seamlessly. I would like to stress here that before we used to think about the cost of transportation and how fast it will be, today we take more consideration about the sustainability and safety of such work. We are developing transport corridors and transport infrastructure very actively right now. The Republic of Belarus is implementing different agreements signed with the other participants of the Union. It is quite important for us to develop the transport system on the international level. Belarus reconstructs transport corridors M1 and M10 in order to send Belarusian cargoes to northern western corridors. That's why we renovate also some other roads like M3 and M6, for example. And we need to continue digitalization of this complex. We also need to pay more attention to the development of the digital transport systems. We are also implementing different machine vision and artificial intelligence technologies in the transportation system. Our main goal right now is to centralize all its sectorial elements. That's why Belarus has created a special center for monitoring of the traffic. Next year, we will finalize our work on the development of the hardware for this center, as well as the software. We have a possibility to fully track all the commercial train transportation in the Republic of Belarus. Everything is done digitally at the moment. We can also share our transportation documents with a digital signature with other countries. When it comes to car transportation, we need to implement an international invoice, digital invoice. That's why we are waiting for some specific results after discussing it here at the forum. Distinguished colleagues and friends, Eurasian Economic Union for us is one of the main and quite important integration associations that will allow us to have sustainability in the region. And transport development is one of the issues within this sphere. We need to move forward confidently. Besides, I would like to pay your attention to the fact that at each dialogue platform, we always talk about a common transport market of the EU. We have done a lot, but we still have some questions that we need to develop further on. I'm confident that if we have a coordinated transport policy, we will find a common transport space of the EU. I would like to wish you all some fruitful work and thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Alexei. You addressed some of the most acute issues that need expedited decisions, and this is the platform where such decisions could be made. A lot of initiatives are coming from Armenia, including the transportation section, the digitalization. Next up is Deputy Minister of the Territorial Management of Armenia, Mr. Simonyan. Can you hear us?
Спасибо. У нас пока звука нету, коллеги. К сожалению, мы вас пока не слышим.
We're still waiting for the sound.
Армен Аганесович, к сожалению, не слышно вас. Попробуйте включить звук. Да, теперь слышно.
Добрый день, коллеги.
Good morning, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome the participants of the Eurasian Economic Forum.
Админ Аганасьевич, извините,
We have
пожалуйста,
to
к сожалению, у
apologize.
нас тут проблемы со
Unfortunately,
звуком, именно мы
we
вас
have
уже
sound
слышим, но
issues.
звук не очень четкий. Прошу прощения, позвольте перенести ваш доклад
Perhaps we
чуть
should
позже, возможно,
postpone your
наладится. Спасибо
presentation
большое за
until
понимание.
the sound issues are resolved.
В последние годы на евразийском континенте активно изменяется структура направления следования транспортных потоков. Формируются новые транспортные коридоры. Для их функционирования необходимы значительные инвестиции в развитие инфраструктуры, реализация инициатив по цифровизации, гармонизации законодательства. И в этом направлении значительные результаты достигнуты в Республике Казахстан. Просим поделиться информацией о развитии транспортной системы Казахстана, вице-министра транспорта Республики Казахстан.
Mr. Akbarov. Thank you very much. Distinguished members of the Presidium, colleagues, participants. I'd like to welcome you on behalf of the Ministry of Transportation of Kazakhstan. I'm very thankful to you for this opportunity to participate in such a meaningful event. My special gratitude goes to the government of the Republic of Belarus and the Eurasian Economic Commission, and also I'd like to thank you for the hospitality in the city of Minsk. Not only does it show how important the cooperation between our countries is, but this also demonstrates our commitment to transport cohesion. I'd like to share the Kazakhstani vision of this.
К сожалению, у нас небольшие неполадки. Казахстан в евразийской транспортной... Казахстан, обладая уникальным географическим положением между Европой и Азией,
geographical position between Europe and Asia, and it plays a key role in building transit routes and the integration of transport system of Central Asia and nearby countries. We pay special attention to the development of priority transport routes, specifically TMTM, which is via Caspian Sea, South Caucasus, and also international route south-north, Kazakhstan, Russia, and all the way to Chabahar and Mumbai ports. Also the northern route, which is the transit between Belarus, China, through Kazakhstan, and the southern route. This also helps improve the logistics with the Persian Gulf countries, South Asia, and Afghanistan. As far as north-south route, this connects the Russian Federation with Iran, with the Persian Gulf countries and India. Processing capacity is 10 million tons, including 6 million railroads and 4 through the ports. To attract more capacity, there's a 50% discount for transit transports, and also a roadmap has been signed on the simultaneous development of transport networks for 24-25. Also, the railroad of administration of Kazakhstan and Russian Federation and Turkmenistan are working together to implement a project on the unified logistic operator.
Четвертый слайд можно? Одним из
Also, another important field of cooperation, Turkmenistan, Pakistan, and this is quite a promising route which connects us with Gwadar, Karachi, and Mumbai. This vector is an important addition to the existing international routes which help international cohesion and expansion of trade connections and new logistic networks development. We are quite interested in the cooperation with the partners and to ensure better sustainability. We developed the internal terminal network and also expand Kazakhstani presence and abroad. For example, there is a Chinese Chinese terminals in Xianyang in China. Also, another terminal has been built in Poti. And also projects in Tashkent, Svislach, a total capacity of more than 1 million containers per year. And in the future, we're thinking about building ones in Romania, Hungary, and China. Total capacity will grow fivefold and will achieve 2.5 million containers. Another important field of cooperation is development of connections with the EU. At the moment, it's 35.8 million, which is 42% of the entire Kazakhstani export. 18 million is the export which goes through EAEU. Therefore, the integration with these countries is so important. 64% of the entire transit in Kazakhstan comes from EU, 27 million tons. Therefore, the cohesion is quite telling, and therefore we need to work on it even more. Uzbekistan is one of our key partners. We reached 27.9 million with them. In Afghanistan, 2.3 million. As part of the digital transportation of transport branch, we try to reduce the logistic times. The digital corridor helped reduce CMR processing from 8 hours to 30 minutes. This all started in May 2025. Also, automated diagnostic of rolling stock. This also reduced the inspection just to several minutes. This will start in July 2025. Introduction of AI in the rolling stock management should reduce the delay time to 5% and reduce the off-schedule arrivals to 10%. Also, the unified maritime window also should reduce the time in port to 30 minutes. We focus mainly on practical benefits for business and improving the transparency for logistic process. As part of the road to digitalization, there's a project ongoing, Jaldar. This includes the public control, the information center for drivers and unified database. This helps improve the transparency, openness, and expedited nature of the entire process. We also are trying to switch to electronic permissions and CMRs. Since 2024, project's been ongoing on electronic forms. As a result, number of trips has grown seriously and will cut the costs. And this also helped exchanges experience with other countries. We switched to electronic forms with China, and this helped bring up the number of trips by 6 times. In 2025, also planning on switching to electronic format a number of other countries which are part of the EAU, also Turkey countries and the Baltic states as well. We're also working to digitalize the process in aviation. Like, for example, there's a PPP project which is about switching to air manifest and electronic air manifests. More than 20 companies are participating. 20 different documents will also be automated. This will help reduce the processing time from 1 year to 1 day, from 1 day to 1 hour. As working with Ministry of Finance and Ministry of Agriculture as well, This should help connect aviation processes with customs and veterinary procedures and should create a unified supply chain. Also, the automated passport control. This should help improve the processing capacity by about 10 times. The amount of transit should grow with 22 times, and as far as the automobile transportation is by 2 times, for aviation 2.2 times, cargo by 3 times, and we're expecting quite a sustainable system to grow. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kolekbarov. Indeed, Kazakhstan is an example on how transport corridors have been implemented, modern transport corridors. It's not just the infrastructure, but quite a high level of digitalization, legislation harmonization, of technological requirements, and so on. That's why, for us, it is quite important to use these corridors effectively. Colleagues, let's try to connect to our partners from the Republic of Armenia. Once again, let's give the floor to the Deputy Minister for Territorial Management Infrastructure of the Republic of Armenia, Mr. Simonan. Can you hear me? Yes, we can hear you. Thank you. Good morning, distinguished colleagues, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, colleagues. First of all, I would like to greet all of you here and express my gratitude for listening to my presentation. Transport plays a crucial role in the modern world. On how effective the transport system is, the economy of the country and its competitiveness in the international arena, they all depend on the transport. That's why we need to find a systematic approach on planning and cooperation between the business and the expert community. That's why recently the Republic of Armenia started to hold different projects on renovation of our transport roads in the north of the country. We have support from different international organizations like the Asian Development Bank, European Development Bank, and other organizations. One of the strategical transport projects is the project developed by the Republic of Armenia that aims at deblocking some roads in Armenia for Armenia to become one of the important areas between the West and the East. That's why this project will allow us to develop cooperation in an effective way. And it will allow to transport more people and cargoes. In order to develop that, we also develop our airspace. It will allow us to increase our international cooperation. After the COVID-19 pandemic, we were able to increase the number of passengers who were flying via Armenia by 1.7%. One of the international airports of Armenia, of Yerevan, for example, we have received finance of $400 million. At control checkpoints, we have introduced a special platform, one stop, one window, and there is a digital system to receive toll of cargo trucks, and also we issue digital licensing for regular and irregular airborne cargo transportation. In May, we finalized the development of a digital platform for big trucks, and it will start working from the 1st of July 2025. This year, we have also finalized implementing a special protocol on eCMR, an international invoice that will allow to have everything digitally. This year, we will also hold a pilot project on usage the digital invoices with the other countries of the EU. With the European Economic Commission, UN, and Eurasian Economic Commission, we are working on another project on the tracking of different cargo transportation using digital platforms. Armenia is also working and implementing the Framework Convention and Paris Convention on environmental protection. In Armenia, there are a lot of emissions. For example, 25% of all the emissions are in the car transportation field. In order to use more electronic cars, we decided to introduce a zero VAT for electric cars. In 2024, thus, cars that were imported into Armenia amounted to 50% more of electric cars than it was before. Of course, a huge contribution into the environment is the railway. Railways don't have emissions, or not as many emissions. And we are also investing in the railway and the modernization of our existing trains and railways. We can see that there are more and more people who choose trains. In the end of my speech, I would like to say that together we will be able to increase our transport potential. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you, Mr. Armen Oganesevich. Armenia's initiatives within the green economy are quite big. They're quite interesting, useful, and I think they should be used in other EAU countries and in its partner countries. Thank you once again, and I'm very sorry that we had some technical issues before. Distinguished colleagues, the Russian Federation is one of the main partners in the EAU, and it comes to implementation of different international projects like the North Seaway, for example, as well as the transcontinental projects, as the project South North, where Russia is the key partner. That's why we would like to give the floor to the State Secretary, Deputy Minister of Transport of the Russian Federation, Mr. Zverev. Distinguished Mr. Eurofeev, Mr. Kozhyshev, Mr. Lakhnovich, and other participants of the Presidium, I would like to say that the topic is very crucial for our discussion today. I would like to thank the Eurasian Economic Commission on how it organized the plenary sessions today. Discussing transport is quite important because we can continue the discussion in our ministries at our home countries and with other important bodies in our countries. And I think that after this plenary session, we will have some specific results. Thank you very much for your for giving me the floor. I do agree with you in that the Russian Federation is one of the key partners in this field, And that's why those solutions that we have since 2024 in this field are quite important for all our economies and for qualitative transport. Like I said, it is quite important. That's why those tasks that we had when it comes to sea transport, airborne transport, river transport, car transport, and so on, and we have achieved what we have planned, and it is one of the, let's say, key parts of the transport framework of the EAEU. We have increased all the kinds of transport that we have, the volume of cargo transportation using different routes in Eurasia, and our citizens have seen the growth of 15.5 billion people who are using public transportation. That is the growth of 3.1%. Those are the figures that all our countries crave for. Last year, we reconstructed and built more than 23,000 kilometers of roads have been renovated, new roads were built, the volumes of seaports have increased to 33 million tons, the volumes are also, they have also increased. We have a very good example from 2022, when the usage of sea infrastructure together with the Republic of Belarus, we were also working with Kazakhstan, and we have bilateral agreements with these countries, and I hope that in 2025-2026 we will have some common rules for transit and transportation in order to use the infrastructures of our countries so that the mechanism would be transparent and understandable for all the citizens, both for the export and the import. Our tasks for 2035 are quite big. On the one hand, we have built a road, Moscow-Kazan. It is a part of the transport corridor that goes to China, and it is a route that is used quite actively by the EAEU. The next stage is the high-speed railway between Moscow and St. Petersburg. I think that our authorities will agree that we need a working group. We have already agreed it actually on renovating this road. We need to have common standards in EAEU, and this program is already being implemented by all our countries within EAEU, but it would be great to have a common program and use one program in all our countries that will ease the transportation in the route to China, and of course it will allow us to construct more railway countries through different important cities. This initiative has to be implemented by the next forum, and we have all the instruments to do that, so let's speak about that too. International transport corridors have been mentioned today not once. It is one of the main goals for us today. We need to increase it by 1.5 in international corridors, transport corridors, we need to have 20 million tons on all the three routes. It's a great figure. We are thankful to our EAU colleagues. We use this route quite actively. All of our countries use it. The cargoes go to Kazakhstan, to Belarus, and so on. And our main goal is to make sure that all the other routes are working to improve this route. We also have some routes developing to Pakistan, to Afghanistan, for example. These are huge markets, and that's why we need to continue developing our routes in this field, in this direction. I hope that next year, during the next forum, we will be able to invite our Afghan and Pakistani friends and colleagues, and we will be able to include them into this transportation network. I think that it is important to have our own format of different routes and roads, and it will allow us to have a single regulation, rules for all the countries in the field, and it will allow us to have a better cooperation in this field. The example for us is the strategical agreement signed with the Republic of Belarus on this issue. It will allow to work us stage-wise.
Now, as far as Eurasian route development is concerned, we talked about it, which is digitalization, that is a connect with the help of AI-assisted transport systems, and also the digitalization of paper documents. We set a number of tasks, strategic tasks, and we solved them. First of all, optional switch to e-CMRs and other transportation documents, and then the switch effective 2026 to mandatory use of e-CMR. There will be a register of transport companies. So whatever connects the concerns the permissions should be digitalized, and I think this initiative could become part of the union agreements, that is mandatory e-documents in the entire EAU territory. This should be quite telling, and this should really help simplify the entire process. We don't have a customs borders, but we have other controls, but there's also navigation, and there's tracing and so on. And we hope that all the countries will switch to mandatory use of e-documents and will adopt legislation. So effective 26, the entire EU would switch to complete digitalized control. We have a number of portals, and we have National Transport and Logistics Platform, which should be available. If it's just one country, it should not be efficient. It should be international, therefore there should be some cohesion between the largest players like India and China, and we have begun work to that end. So I think this initiative is pivotal to EAU development in this sphere. There's a plan, but additional measures should be added, and not just programs, but direct
имплементация в странах
legislation
национальное законодательство или прямое
and quick
применение и
implementation.
непосредственное уже осуществление. Уверен, наши с
And I
вами
am
перевозчики,
positive that
экспортеры,
our
импортеры
transporters, importers,
скажут
and
нам огромное
exporters
спасибо за переход от
will
слов
be grateful
к реальным делам.
because we will finally
Что хотелось бы, наверное, еще
walk the
отметить,
talk.
это беспилотные логистические коридоры.
Now,
Сейчас мы с вами ведем отдельные
unmanned
эксперименты.
logistic corridors.
Нормативная база формируется во всех странах.
There's
Это действительно
legislation
перспектива грузовых перевозок.
and
Это
legislation is
тоже
being
может стать
developed in all
системным
the countries. I'm talking
вопросом,
cargo.
системным блоком, который
This
подлежит
could become
урегулированию
one of
на
the
всей
branches that
площадке
should
ЕС,
be
который
regulated
позволит, с одной
throughout the
стороны,
entire
облегчить
EU
товародоступность
and it should
движения, но и
help
сильно снизить расходы
decrease
на
the expenses quite
транспорт.
dramatically.
Сегодня в рамках третьей сессии по
The transport
цифровизации мы
costs
постараемся
during
максимально
the third session
ставить
on digitalization.
действенные
We'll
результаты
try
по
to
беспилотным
describe in much
логистическим
detail
коридорам
of
в
how
Российской
the
Федерации
unmanned
сейчас на постоянной основе.
corridors
Это
can work.
86
Currently,
грузовых
there are
автотранспортных средств
86
по платным дорогам.
cargo
Третий год
units traveling
осуществляет перевозки уже в постоянном режиме.
turnpikes.
Да, тестовый режим продолжается.
It's
Нам нужно
currently
дойти до 4-5
working
степени
in a pilot mode.
автоматизации и
Go up
автономизации.
to
И
the
для
fourth
этого
or
еще,
fifth
конечно же,
degree of
потребуется определенное время.
automation.
Коллеги, наверное, не забирая
automation.
безусловно, повестку
I
у
don't
своих
want
коллег, еще раз
to,
хотел бы выразить огромную благодарность организаторам,
away some
традиционно
of the
коллегам.
ideas that you might have. I don't want to steal your thunder.
Спасибо
But,
за
again,
гостеприимство. И
I'd
уверен,
like to
что
thank all of
транспортный
you for
блок,
hospitality, and I'm positive that the
секции и
transportation part
тематики в рамках сегодняшнего Евразийского форума будут
during
достойно
today's
оценены,
forum should
а
be
на следующий форум мы
appreciated
едем с
properly,
конкретными
and we
решенными
will
вопросами. Спасибо.
solve some issues by the next forum. Thank you very
Большое
much.
спасибо, Дмитрий Станиславович, за ваш
Thank
доклад,
you,
и в первую
Dmitry,
очередь
for
за
your
те
presentation,
конкретные
and
предложения,
thank you
которые
for
направлены не столько на создание
proposals
программного
that
документа,
address
сколько
not
на
just
реализацию
the
конкретных
program
инициатив
documents,
для
but
бизнеса, для
the
грузовладельцев,
implementation
для
of
пассажиров.
initiatives which
Поэтому
are
эти инициативы, я
necessary
думаю,
for
в ближайшее время
passengers and for
найдут свое отражение
cargo
в конкретной
transporters. And I
решенной
think
задаче.
there will
Большое
be
внимание развитию транспорта
tasks
уделяется
on
в
the
Кыргызской
table, and they will
республике.
be solved.
При этом
Lots of attention
отличительной
is being
особенностью является
paid to
тесная
transportation
технологическая
development in
взаимосвязь
Kyrgyzstan.
при
There's
реализации
a
масштабных проектов со странами
intense
соседями. Комплексный подход
connection,
к организации бесшовных мультимодальных контейнерных перевозок. Просим поделиться
seamless
информацией о достигнутых успехах в развитии
approach
транспортной
to
системы Кыргызстана.
transportation in Kyrgyzstan. So next up is Deputy Minister of Kyrgyzstan,
Бекжана Базарбаевич.
Mr. Izmindeyev. Please.
Спасибо большое,
Thank you,
уважаемые участники форума,
distinguished
дамы и
participants,
господа.
ladies and gentlemen.
От имени Министерства
On
транспорта и
behalf
коммуникации
of
Кыргызской Республики
the
позвольте выразить
Ministry
благодарность
of
за
Transportation
возможность
of Communication,
принять участие в
I'd like
обсуждении
to
актуальных вопросов
thank you for this
устойчивого и
opportunity
цифрового
to
развития транспорта в
discuss
регионе
the issues
Большой Евразии.
related to
В рамках
transportation
проводимой политики
as part of
социально-экономического
the
развития
social
Кыргызской
development
Республики
policy of
цифровая трансформация
Kyrgyzstan. The
отраслевых
digital
процессов рассматривается в
transformation
качестве одного из
is viewed
ключевых направлений
as
государственной
one of the
политики.
key
В этой связи цифровизация транспортной отрасли,
directions of the government
являющейся
policy.
стратегически
Therefore,
важным сектором экономики,
it is viewed as a strategic
приобретает
sector,
особую значимость
and
и
this
рассматривается
special
в качестве одного
attention
из
is paid
ключевых
to
государственных
this.
приоритетов.
And it's one of our
Кыргызская республика,
priorities.
как часть единого
Kyrgyzstan
евразийского
is
транспортного
part of the
пространства,
unified
последовательно
transportation
реализует
space of
стратегический
EAU,
курс
and
на
we are
цифровизацию,
implementing
на цифровую
our plan
трансформацию транспортной
to
отрасли.
digitalize the transport
Этот процесс
branch.
охватывает не только
This
модернизацию
includes
инфраструктуры,
not only
но и
the
внедрение
modernization of
современных цифровых
infrastructure, but also
решений,
introduction of
направленных на
modern
повышение
digital
прозрачности,
solutions that should help
и
improve
устойчивости
transparency and
транспортных процессов.
sustainability
Позвольте кратко
of
представить ключевые
transportation. Let me
проекты в сфере
present some of
цифровизации
the key
транспорта,
elements
реализуемые в
of
нашей
these
стране.
projects in Kyrgyzstan.
В первую очередь, это электронная
First of
подача
all,
заявлений на получение
electronic
лицензий,
applications,
разрешений и спецразрешений
applications to
на перевозку
apply for
крупногабаритных и
licenses
тяжеловесных грузов.
for heavy
В настоящее
cargoes.
время реализована электронная подача заявлений на
Now,
получение лицензий и разрешений
electronic
на
applications are
осуществление международных автомобильных
available.
перевозок.
That includes
Также реализована
international
электронная подача
transportation, also
заявлений и выдача
electronic application, the special permissions to heavy cargoes. So they apply electronically through their accounts. This saves time and also decreases the subjectivity in the decision-making process. Exchange of e-forms. Ministry is working on introduction of e-form exchange and e-permit exchange in the process of international transportation. This should help thanks to digitalization and save costs, which includes printing, processing, dissemination, and also should prevent challenges related to physical mishaps. We're currently working on the integration of those systems between the countries members of the EU and also with China. We are also working towards creating digital roadmaps. This includes all the contributions from the ministry, general information, artificial buildings, passenger capacity, and also register of small and large cargo transportation units, which includes characteristics and the territory access. Also, there will be more information available on such e-road roads that should help the general public and the ministry. We support the initiative to have a pilot project to use international ECMRs in the EU. We are currently working quite vigorously to that end. As far as the infrastructure projects are concerned, currently there's a project on a railroad connecting Kyrgyzstan and China, Uzbekistan. Another railroad is under construction that should connect through Makmal, Karagachi. These are quite shining examples of cohesion of transportation. Carcass as part of the Silky Way that includes the east-west and northwest transport corridors. Distinguished colleagues, the digitalization of transport is not just a technological update, it's a structural element which is future-oriented. We are convinced that further development requires coordination of efforts between the participating countries, exchange of best practices, and synchronization of platforms to ensure seamless cohesion. We are open to intense cooperation, to joint pilot projects and dialogue to develop digital standards and solutions. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir, for the initiatives you have described in Kyrgyzstan. Truly, as far as the digitalization is concerned, there was sometimes some information is lacking. Your information should be quite useful for all of us, and this is how we can use the new corridors which is currently being created. Transportation links with Myanmar are currently in the process of development, so we're just beginning this work. Now we'd like to ask a representative of Myanmar, Minister of Investment and Foreign Economic Relations, Mr. Kanzo, to step up.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Good morning, Excellencies, distinguished panelists, ladies and gentlemen. on behalf of the government of the Republic of the Union of Myanmar, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude to the organizers for convening these important sessions. It is a true honor for Myanmar to participate in this gathering of transport leaders, experts, and visionaries. We are here today to collectively shape the sustainable, digital, and connected future for transportation in the Eurasian region and beyond. Today, we are encountering with the twin imperative of enhancing mobility while also addressing environmental sustainability. This is no small task, and it requires coordinated efforts across governments, regions, and sectors. In this context, the focus of this session, sustainable transport, mobility, multimodality, and digitization, is both timely and forward-looking. Now, we well noted that the transport system in the Eurasian region is encompassing with Europe and Asia that is highly diverse and strategically significant for economic importance and geopolitical position. Therefore, we believe that the Eurasian transportation system is key player for global trade, energy, supply chain, like oil and gas pipelines. At present, we can clearly see the importance of the Eurasian Transport Network, ETN, which can reduce imbalances in the geography of trade across Eurasia. The synergies of interconnected transport corridors and routes will ensure the connectivity of all the dispersed centers of productions and consumptions in Eurasia. It promotes economic growth by facilitating trade, reducing transport costs, and enabling access to global value chain, whereas create environmental challenges like increased emission and resource consumption. Consequently, the Eurasian Transport Network highlighted to realize the energy efficiency, low emission, and cost-effective transport network. In addition, we have learned that according to the Eurasian Economic Path Declaration, the common transport and logistics space should be created on further development of economic progress with the EAEU. Therefore, it can be inferred that it is needed to develop transport, logistic, and digital infrastructure of international transport corridors for the acceleration of the transits of goods. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, panelists, ladies and gentlemen, in the meantime, I have noted that EAEU and ASEAN have planned to hold expert consultation and exchange of experience across a range of mutually beneficial areas, including exchanging experience and best practices in the priority areas of the implementation of cross-border land transport, multimodal, and container traffic in the dry inland port, the use of programs of cooperation, electronic documents in the cross-border land transport activities under the Program of Cooperation, POC, between the Eurasian Economic Commission, EEC, and the ASEAN for 2020 to 2025. As a member of ASEAN, Myanmar will actively participate in these initiatives, contributing to regional efforts that enhance cooperation with the EAEU. Excellencies, distinguished panelists, ladies and gentlemen, in accordance with the ASEAN Transport Strategy Plan, the Myanmar National Transport Master Plan is designed to provide guidance for the long-term investment program that will help the government achieve its economic growth targets by 2030. The master plan provides guidelines that are adaptable to other industrial sectors and to provide investment to assist with investment planning and decision-making for the variety of transport sector projects. As a member of ASEAN, Myanmar is an active participant in the most significant elements of the strategy in air transport by rectifying ASEAN-China air transport protocols that include fifth freedom traffic rights for more air connections and participating in the ASEAN Foreign Operator Safety Assessment Program. Land transport by committing to the upgrading of subclass 3 road along main ASEAN highways AH1, AH2 and AH112 and participating in the Dawei-Kanchanaburi Railway and the highway connected Thailand as part of the Singapore-Kunming Rail Link project. Maritime with the part of the ASEAN-Japan Cruise Promotion Strategy and Search and Rescue SAR operation and including in the action plans for wild spill response and ballast water management. Myanmar is well connected in ASEAN through infrastructure projects, for example, railway, highways, and seaports, security and environmental standards, convergence of law, customs, transport law, active cooperation with neighboring nations like Thailand and China. The aim is to position Myanmar at the heart of the regional transit and trade center while increasing connectivity, economic growth, and regional integration under ASEAN. Excellencies, distinguished panelists, ladies and gentlemen, since Myanmar is located at the strategic intersection of Southeast Asia, South Asia, and China, its access to the Bay of Bengal and the Andaman Sea offer unique maritime opportunities. Myanmar views its position not only as the gateway, but as a vital connector in regional transport corridors that stretches across the Eurasian landmass. We are currently pursuing several priorities initiatives to develop multimodal transport corridors, the link maritime ports, inland waterways, roads, and rails. These corridors are essential for boosting trade competitiveness, reducing transport costs, and connecting underserved regions within our country to global markets. The landmark achievement in this regard was our accession to the Intergovernmental Agreement on Dry Ports under UNESCAP. Myanmar currently hosts 2 operational dry ports, Yuadaji dry ports in Yangon and Nyingye dry ports in Mandalay, that are jointly invested with foreign countries. These facilities served as key logistics centers that integrate rail and road transportation for international and domestic flights and domestic freights. We are planning to expand these hubs and develop additional dry ports along major corridors to promote multimodal efficiency. At the same time, Yangon Port, which is the main seaport and currently handles around 90% of Myanmar international trade, has been upgraded to be the modernized one. Yangon Inner Port Area and 2 Thilawa port areas are included in that Yangon port, and it can allow the total of 48 vessels terminals simultaneously. Even though it is a river port with draft limitation, the port remains vital to our economy. We are implementing port electronic data interchange EDI system, investing in logistic ICT infrastructure, and streamlining custom clearance to enhance competitiveness. Moreover, digitalization and automation are being implemented through public-private partnerships for the sustainable development of supply chain and the ports. Furthermore, since our ambitions extend beyond infrastructure, Digital transformation in transport has become the central priority in the recent years, which is a crucial process of innovation, inclusiveness, and sustainable economic growth. As a result of digital transformation, business registration, promoting digital technology, and cross-border real-time retail payment systems are also being implemented digitally. Myanmar is currently developing a national logistic master plan and e-government platforms to digitize freight movement, support vehicles tracking, and improve logistic coordination. We are also aligning with ASEAN and BIMSTEC framework for harmonized cross-border transport rules and facilities, seamless trade flows. We see great potentials for collaboration with the Eurasian Economic Union, EAEU, and other partners in the areas of interoperable systems, joint infrastructure investment, and the development of smart corridors. Based on the Memorandum of Cooperation, MOC, between the government of the Republic of Myanmar and the Eurasian Economic Commission, EEC, we are already agreed for the cooperation within our competence in the transport areas. The strategic roadmap of the Eurasian transport system focuses on building sustainable transportation plans that can balance environmental goals, economic growth, and social inclusion. Additionally, we would like to highlight the importance of green transport. Myanmar has endorsed several international initiatives aimed at reducing emission and improving fuel efficiency. In our national transport policies, we are promoting rail over roads, where feasible, enhancing the use of inland waterways and supporting clean energy solutions for urban mobility. Another key opportunity lies in the development of the Dawei Special Economic Zone, SEZ, in southern Myanmar. That has to be developed with Russia investment. These SEZs include the proposed deep sea port that would be the game changer for regional logistics, offering an alternative gateway connection the Indian Ocean with Thailand and beyond. We are actively inviting international investors and partners to join us in making Dawei the global hub for trade and transport. Myanmar is exploring how such innovations can be adopted and developed through pilot projects and regional trials in partnerships with other EAEU and SCO members. Excellencies, distinguished panelists, ladies and gentlemen, in light of the ongoing macroeconomic transformation, the need for new development paradigm in international transport is evident. This paradigm must be rooted in inclusiveness, resilience, sustainability, and cooperation. It must also recognize that small developing countries like Myanmar have much to gain from being better integrated into regional and global networks. As such, we call for enhanced capacity building for transport professionals in developing countries. Number two, increase financing and technological assistance for multimodal infrastructure.
Thank you very much, Mr. Khan.
I'm finished. Opening dialogues among regional platforms after the EAEU. In conclusion, Myanmar reaffirmed its commitment to working closely with all stakeholders, governments, development institutions, and private sectors to shape the future of sustainable transport. I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Большое спасибо, господин Кан, за ваше предложение, в первую очередь за не только взаимодействие с Союзом Мьянма, но и с Союзом ASEAN, который действительно открывает новые перспективы для всех наших стран.
New prospect for all countries, all EAU countries, you know, but also there's CIS, and this is where the key transport initiatives is discussed in the traditional transport conference. In your presentation. Please now let's discuss the cooperation of ECE and EAU and CIS, Mr. Bessonov. Of the Executive Committee. Good morning, distinguished colleagues, members of the Presidium. I'm so happy to be present at this event. I hope you will see my presentation now. I understand that the time is up for this session, basically. I'll try to be short. I represent the Coordination Transport Conference, which includes ministers of transportation of the CIS countries. We'd like to share our vision about the problems we share in EAU, and this is quite important for us. We'll understand that the world is changing. I'll continue without the text. We'll know how the economic situation affects the situation in our countries. And this is how some of the production centers are being moved from Western countries to Asian and Southeastern Asian countries. This brings about the changing of transport corridors. The geopolitics, unfortunately, leads to transportation corridor changes. Now we see new corridors. They are well known, but still, currently, they are quite rapidly developing. Much has been said about it before. And of course, we should build the infrastructure, and we should remember about the soft, flexible infrastructure that includes the digitalization, education, border crossing. We understand that we have common tasks. I don't think I should read them out. All transportation and logistics solutions should be connected in the Eurasian Economic Commission and EAU. Also, there are key documents that were developed in CIS, which includes the heads of state decisions on optimization of the infrastructure, as well as the memorandum on the digital transformation strategy of economic development of CIS. We are trying to connect all those issues with what our colleagues and partners believe about it. So we're trying to avoid duplication. We sign memoranda so we can join hands. Today, for example, we'll plan to sign an agreement on the plan of cooperation between Eurasian Economic Commission and the Executive Committee of the conference. So, unfortunately, it's pretty hard to follow the screen. But anyways, in addition to the issues at hand, we've been trying to expand the mandate of the coordination conference. We have 6 councils during the previous session. Last year, we decided to expand the number of councils. We also will have a business council, so those would be the bodies that should help the feedback to be built. And as far as the common tasks risks or concerns. In addition, we're trying to develop regional cooperation. We've been trying to do this because in the framework of Eurasian Economic Union, in the framework of CIS, there are very serious horizontal connections and will continue along the same lines. I know our timeline is quite strict. I'd like to thank you for this opportunity to give this talk. But this conference is not an alternative, and not an optional solution. This is a unique mechanism of cooperation in the framework of our common political and economic union. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you, Mr. Bessonov. Also, thank you very much for describing the role to the conference pays to science. This helps effective development. As has been said, the European Economic Commission cooperates with a number of unions, including the Asia and the Pacific region. So next up is Representative Economic Social Commission for Asia, Mr. Karmiditsin. Good morning, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to thank the organizers of this forum for this opportunity to speak to you. This Economic and Social Commission unites more than 50 countries from different regions. There are three of 5 countries that include 4 countries that are also in the UNISCAP. As far as other organizations are concerned that also participate, the UNISCAP are also members of also they're members of the Shanghai Cooperation.
На сегодняшний день страны, которые входят в данное объединение, также в них реализуется много проектов.
Lots of projects that are ongoing.
В частности, сейчас возник большой интерес и разрабатывалась дорожная
roadmap that I'd like to mention.
Центральной Сейчас мы также реализуем проект, который касается интеграции сетей мозгов,
Unfortunately, we have connection issues.
Приносим глубокие извинения, но действительно вас не можем эффективно слышать. Просим прощения, действительно, нам интересно рассмотреть вопросы взаимодействия, поэтому мы, думаю, обменяемся в режиме уже немножко другого формата. И, конечно, безусловно, приглашаем в очный формат принимать участие в ЕРК. Это действительно гораздо более продуктивно будет, и в следующий раз, безусловно, будет приятно общаться. Прошу прощения еще раз. В последние годы усиливается транспортная и торговая связь между странами ЕАЭС и Республикой Иран. Фактически уже сформирован транспортный коридор север-юг, мультимодальный коридор. И эти вопросы попрошу осветить в докладе генерального директора Персидского торгового дома Джафари. Пожалуйста.
Mr. Jafari.
روز بخیر خانم ها آقایان همکاران محترم. باعث افتخاره که در اینجا در خدمت شما و همکاران عزیزمون هستم. جا داره که تسلیت بگم در اثر تجاوز به کشورم و شهادت
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to be here. Unfortunately, our country has been attacked now, and there are many casualties because of this attack. But anyway, we have achieved a lot, and we decided to participate in this forum anyway, even though our country is in a terrible situation now. Today, geoeconomics and geopolitics are interconnected, and the transit questions are the pillars of economic development. These development routes, these corridors, especially transport corridors north-south, it is actually it's a miracle that from St. Petersburg there is a transport corridor to Bombay. It used to take 40-45 days, but today there is this corridor north and south, and the same route takes only 20-25 days, and it is a very significant decrease. 30-40% of time is saved. When it comes to time and costs, all the countries that participate in this corridor were connected to the Suez Channel, and this connection will be not as big anymore. It will not be connected to the Suez channel so much. It will be connected to the North-South channel. And it will help our country in particular, because at the moment we are under sanctions. It will help to develop our country and to invest in our country sustainably. Bilateral trade with EAU is very important, and especially it comes to oil and grains. And for us, we are kind of a bridge between Europe and Asia, as well as the farther east. One of the perks of this corridor is that we are minimizing the sanctions influence in our country, but we face some challenges here. I would like to thank the Minister of Transport of the Russian Federation, because recently they have helped us a lot, because we have had tight cooperation between the Iranian embassy in Moscow and the Russian Federation. We had better cooperation when it comes to sea logistics and airborne logistics, but with the sea logistics there are some problems now. We have faced some other challenges and problems at the moment when it comes to other corridors. We urge you to invest more in our country, especially when it comes to Reshti-Astara part and an Iranian port, Chahar, so that this port and haven will be developed further on. It is extremely important to develop this consortium. Usage of economic diplomacy in order to increase investment, transparent digitalization, as well as transit corridors and pathways, and digital artificial intelligence. It is a trade corridor as well as economic, political, and a new page for us, for our country. Iran, Russia, India will develop this corridor, and they will finally reach economic independence. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much, Mr. Jafari. Distinguished speakers, our panel session on this topic are over now. You have received the resolution drafts today. If you have any suggestions, please, we're ready to hear them. If you don't have any suggestions, we suggest we agree to this resolution and adopt them. Thank you very much, distinguished speakers, for this plenary session. I would like to wish you a fruitful day, new business context within the forum. And there is a small coffee break. Please enjoy the coffee. Thank you very much.